vessel of God that God has been using and is still using and is a great asset to us as people, also as the body of Christ.
Nous allons recevoir un grand canal par lequel Dieu ne cesse de bénir son peuple.
And so you have witnessed to it and you are going to have more input.
Alors vous le connaissez déjà, mais vous allez en recevoir encore plus de lui.
And so please help me.
Alors accueillons.
Let's welcome Dr. Haizel as she comes to share with us.
Thank you. Hallelujah. Thank you very much. You may please take your seats.
Asseyez-vous.
Mademoiselle, ça va? Comment s'appelles-tu? Anne. Okay, good. Let's appreciate Anne because she's doing overtime. She will be interpreting for everybody. It's not easy. So I hope you had a heavy lunch. Yes. Because you need to be heavy so that you'll be able to interpret very well for us. We've done
Nous avons fait
50% of my team.
50% de mon thème.
Building mental and organizational structures
Qui est basé sur l'organisation mentale
that will guarantee your relevance in the world and the generation to come.
qui va te garantir de pouvoir demeurer dans le temps.
So we've dealt with the mental structures.
Alors on a fini avec le côté mental.
We want to look at how do you build organizational structures that will make you relevant in the years to come.
Nous allons maintenant regarder à comment la structure organisationnelle.
How many of us were not here at the 2021 summit, last year's
Qui
summit?
n'était pas là l'année passée?
Oh, many of you. You were not, oh.
Qui n'était pas là?
Oh, wow. Okay. If I'd known,
Si j'avais su.
because I realized that some of the things that I have to share, I shared last year. So I added new dimensions to it. So what is going to happen is that those of you who were not here, I'm going to recap some of the things that we did last year. Recap means I'll just mention it bit.
Alors, puisque je ne savais pas qu'il y avait beaucoup de nouveaux, j'ai préparé d'autres notes pour ajouter à celles de l'année passée. Mais comme il y a des gens qui n'étaient pas là, on va repartir pour juste mentionner avant de continuer.
So try and get the pen drive or the CD of last year's Apostolic Summit so that you can get the details of some of the things that I may not go into details because I want to cover new areas also.
Alors, assurez-vous de repartir avec les CD et clés USB de sorte à ce que vous puissiez avoir tous les détails de l'année passée.
Okay, so let me ask a question. Where they ask them,
Je vais demander.
I think you're running shifts Apostolic Summit, Anna. That majority of the people who were here last year are not here. And then we have new people.
Comment ça se fait que la plupart de ceux qui étaient là l'année passée ne sont pas là?
Or the churches have a program in place that if this group goes this year, next year another group will go. I'm just trying to understand the dynamics.
Ou est-ce que l'église s'est organisée de sorte que si ce groupe-là s'en va cette année, l'année prochaine, c'est un autre groupe qui s'en va?
Okay, Bishop is saying that we are growing also. So those of you who are here for the first time, God bless you for coming.
Si vous êtes là pour la première fois, que Dieu vous bénisse.
I know you've not wasted your time to be here. You are living here with something that is going to influence your church and your
Et tu ne vas pas perdre ton temps,
community.
tu partiras d'ici avec quelque chose de nouveau.
So what is an organization? If we are going to build organizational structures, what is an organization?
Qu'est-ce que l'organisation?
An organization is a group of people working together to achieve common goals.
Une organisation est un groupe de personnes qui se mettent ensemble pour atteindre un même objectif.
A goal is something that we are looking forward to reach.
Et l'objectif, c'est ce à quoi nous aspirons.
So anytime a group of people come together, they are working together, and they want to achieve a goal that all of them agree that this is what we want to achieve, then you have an organization in place.
Toutefois qu'un groupe de personnes se met ensemble pour atteindre un certain objectif, alors on parle d'organisation.
And in an organization, the leadership or the top management will determine the direction to which the organization should go.
Et dans l'organisation, le leadership va déterminer la voie à suivre.
They do that by defining the purpose of the organization. They formulate strategies that will help the organization to achieve those goals. These are done by those in leadership or management.
Cela est fait en mettant en place les objectifs que l'organisation doit atteindre et les moyens par lesquels l'organisation va le faire.
They try and define the reason why the organization exists, why we have come together.
Les leaders mettent en place la raison pour laquelle l'organisation existe.
So if it's a church, they will try and define why God has called us as a church. What assignment has God given us? What is our goal?
Alors si c'est une église, ils vont définir ce à quoi Dieu a appelé cette église-là.
If it is a business also,
Si
an organization is asking, what business are we in?
Si c'est une affaire aussi, l'organisation va se demander dans quel genre d'affaires nous voulons nous investir.
Now, today's churches, they have evolved from the traditional function of just church attendance and service. And now today's churches are doing, the word is big, multifaceted functions. It means that you are doing a lot of things as a church. First, it was just going to service, end of service. Now you have men's department, you have welfare, you have a lot of things that a church does. Apart from outreach, some of the churches are involved in other different kind of activities that make the church multifaceted.
Alors l'église n'est plus ce qu'elle était auparavant, ce n'est plus la définition traditionnelle d'avant, mais l'église a maintenant plusieurs facettes et s'engage dans plusieurs activités différentes.
So if you take a ministry or a church, it has different sub-ministries under it. Youth ministry, men's ministry, different kinds of ministry. You have your audio department, you have your, what do we call it, television department, social media department. We are now multifaceted as a church.
Alors quand tu prends l'organisation de l'église, tu vois qu'il y a des divisions, des départements en fait.
And the way we operate as a church, based on the structures we put in place, will determine whether we'll be successful or not.
Et la façon dont l'église opère vis-à-vis de ses objectifs va déterminer si elle va les atteindre ou pas.
So based on the definition I gave, that when a group of people come together to achieve a common goal, we have an organization. Then it means your church is an organization.
Alors sur la base de la définition de l'organisation, nous remarquons que l'église est une organisation.
Because the people that have come together to follow you, it is because they believe in your vision. That is why they've come together.
Parce que ceux qui te suivent en tant que pasteur et autres, c'est parce qu'ils ont cru en ta vision et que vous, ensemble, vous voulez travailler à cela.
The reason why they've not gone to any other ministry or any other church is that they believe in what God have called you to do and they are there to help you to achieve that goal.
La raison pour laquelle ils ne sont pas allés dans une autre église, c'est parce qu'ils croient en ce que Dieu a mis en toi.
And if you are a leader,
et si tu es un leader,
your duty is to provide direction for the group of people that have come together.
Ton devoir, c'est de mettre en place une direction que tout le monde doit suivre.
You have to explain to them what God has called you to do.
Tu dois expliquer ce à quoi Dieu t'a appelé.
And you must formulate the strategies that you are going to undertake to be able to achieve that call that God has given you.
Et tu dois formuler les stratégies qui vont vous aider à atteindre cet objectif-là.
But in order to be able to do that, you must build structures that will support the organization.
Mais pour pouvoir faire cela, il faut une structure, il faut mettre une structure en place
So that you will remain relevant.
afin de demeurer.
Now, when I use the word relevant, I've already explained, so you understand what I mean, okay? Okay? Thank you.
Quand je parle de demeurer, de persister, vous savez de quoi je parle. La
Last year,
persistance.
I discussed how you can remain relevant as an organization.
L'année passée, nous en avons parlé.
And I gave examples of companies that lost their relevance in the last 2 decades. I talked about Kodak. I talked about different kind of companies that used to be in place, but they are no longer in place. Get that
Et j'ai
CD.
donné des exemples de plusieurs compagnies qui existaient avant, mais qui ne sont plus là aujourd'hui parce qu'elles ont perdu leur consistance, leur persistance.
Last year, we learned that research shows that successful organizations tend to fall into 3 traps that make them lose their relevance.
L'année passée, nous avons vu que les organisations à succès font face à 3 choses qui les dégradent.
And I said these 3 traps are the physical trap, psychological trap, and then the strategic trap.
Donc, il y a les causes physiques, il y a les causes psychologiques et
Physical trap, psychological trap, strategic trap.
les causes stratégiques.
When you get the tape, you have an understanding of all that because we want to move ahead and catch up with new things. Else we'll end up just spending time repeating what we did last year.
Si vous achetez le matériel que vous lisez, vous regardez, vous allez comprendre de quoi on parle.
Last year, we also said that to stay relevant, you must stay committed to the mission and vision of your organization or your church.
L'année passée, on a aussi dit que pour persister dans le ministère, il faut savoir là où on veut aller et demeurer dans cette optique-là.
I spent time to explain what a mission is, what a vision is, and what your core values are. And I gave examples of Presbyterian Church, Perez Chapel International. I gave examples of different churches last year.
Et pour cela, il faut savoir sa mission, sa vision et les valeurs qui vont nous aider à atteindre ces choses-là.
I also said that to remain relevant, you should be conversant with the changing operational and service trends and adapt to the change.
J'ai aussi dit que pour persister, il faut s'adapter aux changements qui s'opèrent autour de nous.
We explained that the world is changing fast. The way things are done are changing, and you must also adapt to it.
Le monde évolue et nous devons nous adapter à cela.
So I gave you different examples that we used to eat wache in green leaves. Now it is packaged. There are things that are changing. Now we have food delivery that we use motorbikes or Okada to deliver. These are all changing trends. So if you are in the food business, you have to adapt to these kind of changes.
J'ai donné des exemples, par exemple, du wanché qui se vendait avant dans les feuilles d'attiqué là. Maintenant, ce n'est plus fait comme ça. Il y a dans les emballages et tout. Alors, tu dois t'habituer, tu dois t'adapter à cela quand tu es dans ce commerce.
I also said that to remain relevant, you must identify your core strength and your competitive advantage so that you can enhance it and then you create a niche for yourself.
Pour persister et rester debout, tu dois identifier tes forces et tes faiblesses aussi.
All I explain is that for every church, for every organization, there are things that you are good at. When you identify that, enhance it and use it to your advantage.
Toute
to remain
organisation
relevant.
a une force quelque part, un domaine dans lequel il exerce. C'est ce que tu dois identifier et t'appuyer sur ces choses-là.
If you take all the big churches, you'll find out that there are things that they are good at doing. If you take Pentecost, if you take Assemblies of God, if you take, what we call it, ICGC, if you take Lighthouse, you identify that there are certain things that they are good at. When you identify that, you enhance it, then you use it for your advantage if you want to stay relevant.
Quand tu regardes les grandes églises ou les grandes organisations, il y a toujours quelque chose dans laquelle ces organisations-là se démarquent. C'est ce petit quelque chose-là qu'on doit identifier et sur lequel on doit s'appuyer.
And then we said also that to remain relevant, you must build a solid brand and maintain the brand.
Et pour être persistant, il faut développer une très bonne image et pouvoir la maintenir.
And we talked about different examples.
Et on a parlé de plusieurs exemples.
And I remember I said that Apostle Emmanuel has built a brand for himself. This is the Apostolic Prophetic Summit. It's a brand. And it will, over the years, it has stayed. So Calvary Redemption Church, one of your brand is that you are the organizers of the Apostolic Summit. And based on the years that we've run this summit, it has become a brand.
Et j'ai donné l'exemple du prophète qui a réussi à se construire une image et une réputation au travers de ce genre de programme-là.
So don't be surprised whether in future you talk about Apostolic Summit, then the person will say, oh, Apostle Emmanuel. That is how brands are established.
Alors ne sois pas surpris qu'un jour, en parlant de ce programme-là, quelqu'un t'interpelle pour dire, mais il s'agit du programme du prophète. Et ne sois pas étonné parce que c'est comme ça que ça marche.
Get the CDs, get the pen drives. But last year, I was very passionate about charismatic people. Don't build your brand around your personality. When you die, the church will crash.
Il ne s'agit pas de construire l'image autour de sa propre personne. Parce que quand c'est comme ça, quand tu n'es plus, l'église meurt.
And I explained that when you start ministry, how brand works is that, let's say, let me take CRC. If Apostle is a popular figure in this city, he preaches at other churches, he's on television and everything. His personality has become a brand, okay? Now, he has to use it to enhance and establish CRC. But he must also remember that he's not going to be there forever. So when he has built his personal brand and he's using it to associate it with the church, at a point in time, when people now know him as associated with CRC, there must come a place where he gradually fades away his face and then project CRC so that when he's not there, people will still remember CRC. If not, if you build a brand around yourself and you don't make alternative to direct people to the organization itself, the day you are not there, the organization dies.
Alors, il est bon de construire l'image de l'église sur sa personnalité quand on débute. Mais une fois que l'église tient sur pied, il est meilleur de se mettre en arrière-plan pour que ce soit l'église plutôt qui soit vue.
And I gave you examples. I remember I told you about Bethel Prayer Ministry, Owusu Tebri.
J'ai donné l'exemple de l'église Bethel.
Some of you even don't know now because once the person is out, you have problems. And I told you churches that have done very well in maintaining a brand outside the personality, Lighthouse, ICGC. So those of you who have charismatic churches, as you grow, if you're a handsome guy and want to use your handsomeness to attract people, no problem for now. But the question is being relevant in future. If you don't build the brand of your organization, the day you are not there, nobody will associate anything with the organization because it's all about you.
Beaucoup d'autres églises ont réussi ce pari-là. Mais imagine que tu sois un homme et que par ta beauté, tu veux attirer des personnes dans ton église. C'est une bonne chose. Mais une fois que ces personnes-là sont là, il faut t'assurer qu'il y ait quelque chose qui puisse les retenir. Et quand même tu ne seras plus là, que l'église puisse continuer d'exister.
We also said that to stay relevant as an organization, you must lead your organization strategically. You must always be thinking years ahead of time.
Et pour demeurer dans la persistance, il faut toujours réfléchir avant, avoir des plans stratégiques pour ce qui va venir.
What do we need to do in 3 years' time? You start planning it now. What do we need to do in 4 years' time? You start putting the plan now in place. That is how you manage strategically.
Qu'est-ce que nous devons faire d'ici 3 à 4 ans? On planifie toutes ces choses.
Not only your organization, manage your life strategically.
Et ce n'est pas seulement des organisations, mais toi-même ta propre vie, elle doit être gérée de façon stratégique.
You should be asking yourself when you are 50, when you are 60.
Tu dois te
What
dire,
will your life be like?
à 50 ans, à 60 ans, à quoi ma vie va ressembler?
What kind of schemes have you put in place that at that old age, when you can't work, what is going to support you? You must have a strategic plan in
Quelles
place.
sont les garanties qui vont t'aider demain, dans
So
ta vie
that-
de demain,
So that you remain relevant.
afin que tu sois persistant?
I have wonderful nephews and nieces. But anytime we meet, I tell them in the face that I'm not going to be that uncle that when I'm old, I'll start coming to you people looking for money. In fact, when I'm old, I will be giving you money. You will come to uncle and come and collect money because I have my strategic plan in place.
Alors moi je dis toujours à mes nièces et mes neveux que je ne suis pas le genre d'oncle que quand il sera vieux, il viendra vers vous pour prendre de l'argent. Mais au contraire, c'est vous qui allez venir prendre de l'argent auprès de moi parce que j'ai un
Think
plan stratégique.
strategically. If you have a church growth plan and you want that in 2 years' time, your number should be 100, and you're in a classroom that takes 50, it means that when you become 100, where are the people going to sit? Start thinking ahead of time and plan ahead of time. If you want to remain relevant, you think ahead of time.
Toujours planifier. Si tu es dans un espace de 50 personnes, demande-toi quand vous serez 100, comment vous allez faire et commence à planifier cela.
Sometimes I have to be, what word do I use? A little bit of rascal because I'm a barracks boy. So if you are using 2 years to sew shirt
Si tu utilises 2 mètres de tissu
and you're strategic, you know that you are not going to remain slim like that. When God blesses you, your body will change.
Et tu sais
your
que quand
stomach
Dieu
will
va te
come up
bénir,
a
tu vas
little
grossir.
bit. You will look a little bit plumpy.
tu vas grossir, tu vas prendre un peu de
Then
poids.
start buying 3 years and put down.
Alors il vaut mieux
Because by
acheter
the
3
time you
mètres.
get there, you will not be using 2 years, you need 3 years. So your strategic plan is that when you are buying for the future, you know the future that you intend to get to. So you plan towards it. So those of you who intend to have pot belly, my advice is that buy more years of material and put it down.
Alors quand tu planifies pour le futur, il faut toujours ajouter quelque chose dans le cas où il y a la croissance.
You won't remain like this. Oh.
Tu ne vas pas demeurer le même, comme ça.
Apostle, you know, and prophecy here, you see, at a certain stage in your life,
À un certain niveau de ta vie,
when you fast,
quand tu jeûnes,
you grow lean, you don't recover.
tu ne
So
te
you are
remets pas.
always skinny.
Tu es toujours...
Then when you hit a certain age, you are fasting, but you are still keeping your body. So people think that you don't fast again. Oh, they don't know that God is compensating you for those years that...
Alors, à un certain niveau de ta vie, toutefois tu jeûnes, tu es toujours mince. Mais à un autre niveau, même quand tu jeûnes, tu grossis. Les gens se demandent mais pourquoi ils ne savent pas que Dieu est en train de compenser toutes les années où tu étais maigre.
If I see some of my pictures that I took in 1990s,
Quand je
before
regarde
I got
certaines de mes
married,
photos de 1999,
you know that this brother is Ojashia's brother. Flat stomach, bony face,
tout était mince sur
eyes
moi,
have
plat.
gone in. I didn't know he would favor me this way.
Je ne savais pas que Dieu allait me favoriser de cette façon.
So, think strategically, manage strategically.
Toujours penser stratégie et
It has-
gérer stratégiquement.
Organizations that remain relevant are always thinking ahead of time.
Les organisations qui demeurent pensent toujours, planifient toujours en avance.
We can't go through all that, but get the CDs and get the tape.
On ne peut pas tout reprendre, mais ayez une idée de ce dont on a déjà parlé.
Last year also we defined structure. So since we are talking about building structures, let me quickly go over what an organizational structure is.
L'année passée, nous avons aussi défini l'organisation, la structure de l'organisation.
An organizational structure is a system that outlines how certain activities are directed in order to achieve the goals of the organization.
C'est un système qui souligne comment certaines activités doivent être menées afin d'atteindre l'objectif de l'organisation.
So we see organization is a group of people coming together to achieve a common goal.
L'organisation est un groupe de personnes qui se mettent ensemble pour atteindre un objectif.
To be able to achieve that goal, they need to put a structure in place.
Pour atteindre cet objectif, ils doivent mettre une structure en place.
And the structure simply means that the systems that you put in place to align or to define how certain things must be done in the organization. And that when those things are done, it will help us to achieve our goals.
Et la structure, c'est juste mettre des points en place pour comment est-ce qu'on doit gérer certaines situations afin d'atteindre les objectifs.
And last year, I spent time, I think it's even last 2 years, I spent time to explain what a system is.
Et il y a 2 ans de cela, on a expliqué ce que c'est qu'un système.
I talked about the computer system. I explained with the digestive system. I explained with the skeletal system. These are things that come together so that it will allow the body to function. The skeletal system, your digestive system. I don't want to, even though I'm sorry for those who are coming this year, but we need to catch up. Please get the DVDs.
On a parlé du système informatique, on a parlé du système digestif. Ce sont des exemples de systèmes.
Okay, so to give you just a quick one that you understand how a system is.
Juste pour avoir une idée de ce que c'est qu'un système.
If we say a sound system,
Quand
okay,
nous disons un système,
you have speakers. In the
au niveau
olden
de la
days,
sonorisation, nous avons les baffes.
in the olden days, we had the turntable and then the speakers. For now, in modern days, you have the speakers. You have either the CD player or the DVD player. When you have that, you say you have a sound system.
Ok, on a le DVD ou le VCD, on a les baffes. Quand tu as tout ça, tu as un système de sonorisation.
What is the purpose of a sound system? For it to play music for you to hear, right?
Quelle est l'utilité de ce système de sonorisation? C'est pour jouer la musique.
But if I put the speakers and the CD player here, and I don't connect the speakers to the back of the player so that sound will pass through into the speakers, they will just be there, but we will not get sound.
Mais si les baffes sont là et qu'elles ne sont pas connectées au lecteur,
If
alors il
all
n'y aura
of
pas
them
de
are
son.
properly aligned,
Mais si tous sont reliés,
then it's able to function for the purpose which I bought that thing for. Are we together on that?
alors le système fonctionne de la manière dont il devrait.
So if we say a structure, an organizational structure is when you have a system in place. It means that you've put in certain things in the organization, certain activities, the way things must be done. And when all of them are being done in alignment as it's supposed to be, then you'll be able to achieve your goal.
Alors quand on parle de structure dans l'organisation et que c'est un système qui est mis en place où chaque activité doit mener à quelque chose de sorte à ce que tout cela contribue à l'objectif à atteindre.
And so we looked at some of the systems that must be in an organization if an organization is going to function well and then remain relevant.
Nous avons parlé de certains systèmes qui doivent exister dans une bonne organisation.
And just like I used the sound system,
Et
the
comme j'ai utilisé
speakers,
la
the
sonorisation,
player, you will call them the elements that make the sound system.
les baffes, le lecteur, ce sont les éléments de base.
Every system is made up of elements that must come together so that it can function as a system.
Chaque système est constitué de différents éléments qui ont chacun un rôle à jouer.
And so in an organization,
Dans une organisation,
we can identify about 6 or more systems. But for our studies, let's take just 6 systems.
nous pouvons identifier 6, sinon plus de 6 systèmes.
And then the elements that make the system.
Et les éléments qui constituent ces systèmes.
So I have here, number 1, your strategy system.
Le numéro 1, c'est le système stratégique.
Strategy is if we have a goal, how are we going to go about to achieve that goal?
La stratégie, c'est de se dire, voilà notre objectif, comment est-ce que nous allons l'atteindre?
So when it's a football
Alors,
match,
au football, dans un match de football,
every team has a strategy. The strategy is to help them to score a goal.
chaque équipe a sa stratégie pour lui permettre de marquer un but.
So somebody will say, I want to use the defensive strategy. So he will pack the back with more players and leave only 2 top strikers.
Alors, une équipe peut dire, je vais utiliser la stratégie défensive. On va bourrer les gens à la défense et me laisser peu de personnes devant à l'attaque.
I'm not much of a football fan, but I hear them say 2, whatever, 3, 4, 5, what, I don't know all those, 4-4-2 and all that. It's a strategy.
Je ne suis pas un fan de football, mais j'entends les stratégies 4-4-2 et tout ce genre de choses.
Don't ask me why I'm not a football fan. I don't see why somebody should be throwing his legs and be earning millions and I'll be there worrying myself and no.
Ne me demandez pas pourquoi je n'aime pas le football. Je n'arrive pas à comprendre comment quelqu'un va juste shooter un ballon et puis recevoir des millions pendant que d'autres souffrent et n'en trouvent pas.
But that gives you an idea. It's a strategy
Mais c'est
to
pour juste
score a goal.
avoir une idée de ce que c'est que la stratégie.
So an organization, a group of people have come together to achieve a common goal. They must have a strategy as to how they are going to achieve that goal.
Comme on a défini ce que c'est que l'organisation, ce groupe de personnes doivent avoir une stratégie pour
So
atteindre
as I'm
les objectifs.
teaching and you are sitting there, ask yourself, if your church is an organization, if you are the leader, have you explained to the people the goal, why we are together as a group of people? What has God called us to do? The leader must explain that to the people so that the people will understand where they are going.
Alors si tu es ici et que ton église est une organisation, demande-toi si vous avez déjà fixé des objectifs à atteindre en tant qu'organisation.
And every system must have elements. So when you take the strategy system, what are the things that must come together for you to have a successful strategy?
Tout système est composé d'éléments. Alors quand on parle du système stratégique, quels sont ces éléments?
The first element is
Le
that
premier élément,
your organization must have a mission.
c'est que ton organisation doit avoir une mission.
Mission is, what are you here to do?
La mission, c'est simplement qu'est-ce que tu veux, qu'est-ce que tu es venu faire, qu'est-ce que tu entends de faire.
Why has God called you as a church?
À quoi est-ce que Dieu t'a appelé en tant
What
qu'église?
is our mission as an organization?
Quelle est notre mission en tant qu'organisation?
If yours is to sack all the witches in your village, that is your mission.
Ta
You
mission,
must know your reason for existence.
ta mission peut être de chasser les sorciers de ton village, mais tu dois connaître la raison de ton existence.
So when you look at all the corporate organizations, they have what we call a mission statement. A mission statement is that we have come together for this purpose. Our reason for being here is this. That is one of the things that will help you to formulate a strategy.
Alors toutes les compagnies ont toutes des objectifs et se sont fixés des objectifs qu'elles doivent atteindre.
Because if you don't know why you are existing,
Parce que si tu ne connais pas la
how are
raison de
you
ton
going to plan
existence,
to
comment est-ce
achieve a
que,
goal? Because you even don't know why you are here.
comment est-ce que tu vas planifier pour atteindre tes objectifs? Parce que tu ne sais même pas pourquoi est-ce que tu es là.
So if your mission is that you want to gather people so that they will bring you offering, so that you will get money, so that you can live a good life,
Alors si ta mission c'est de rassembler des personnes pour te donner des offrandes
I
afin
can
que tu
craft a very
survives.
beautiful mission for you.
Moi j'ai une très bonne mission pour toi.
I can get you a good mission statement that will describe you.
Je-
And if everybody read your mission statement, they won't come to the church.
Je
My
peux te
mission is to
donner,
milk you dry so that I will be fat at your expense. So, Bushfire Revival Ministry, our mission is to milk our members dry so that the pastors will grow fat and live in big houses and drive big cars. If I put that mission there, see the kind of people who will come to your
alors si
church.
c'est ton objectif, voilà ta mission. Ta mission c'est de dire aux gens que venez, je vais vous assécher pour que moi je puisse m'engraisser.
So you are living here. If you are going to be relevant, I'm teaching you how to put structures in place. And I say, one, you must have a system, and the system must have elements. So you must have a strategy, and your strategy must have number one element, a mission statement. Number two, a vision statement.
C'est la vision.
You know why you are here.
Tu sais pourquoi tu es là.
But where are you going from here?
Mais où est-ce que tu vas, tu iras à partir d'ici? Où est-ce que tu vas?
3 years, 5 years, what will this organization look like? That is your vision
Dans
statement.
3 ans, 4 ans, à quoi est-ce que ton organisation doit ressembler? C'est ça ta vision.
So, our mission
Notre mission
can be to reach the unreached.
ça peut être de gagner les âmes qui ne le sont pas.
Bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to a dying world.
Ou répandre l'évangile.
That could be your mission statement.
Ça peut être ta mission.
Your vision
Maintenant, ta
statement
vision,
is that
c'est
make
que
sure that everybody in every town, in this and every village in the central region hears the gospel by the year 2010, or we are even in 20, by the year 2030.
alors ta vision dans ce sens-là, ça sera que toute personne dans ton quartier, dans ton village, dans ta ville, puisse entendre parler de Jésus au moins d'ici 2 ans de cela.
That is a vision statement.
Ça, c'est la vision.
China,
La Chine,
many years ago,
il y a des années de cela,
crafted their mission and then their vision for the next 50 years.
ils ont
And it will amaze you that they are saying that by 2025 they should be the world superpower.
ils ont défini leur vision et leur mission.
That was 50 years ago. That was
Et
what
il
they
y a
planned.
50 ans de cela.
And gradually they've worked.
au
And the
fur et à
truth is that
mesure-
they are gradually becoming the world
Au fur
superpower.
et à mesure, ils sont en train d'atteindre leur objectif, qui est les plus grands de ce monde.
So mission and vision.
Alors, la mission et la vision.
As for we in Ojakrom here called Ghana,
Nous concernant,
we crafted vision 2015 vision, this, that. Every time we are changing our vision. Because
nous avons défini notre vision
we
de
don't
2015.
achieve anything, then we
Mais
get
chaque
to the
fois,
year, then
on
we
ne fait que
rechange it
changer.
again.
On n'atteint pas l'objectif, mais on change seulement de vision.
Your strategy, if it's a good strategy, it has a mission statement, a vision statement.
Si ta stratégie est bonne, elle est constituée d'une mission, d'une vision.
Yesterday I told you about body language.
Hier, j'ai parlé du langage corporel.
When people go for lunch,
Quand les gens vont
And
pour
they
le
come
déjeuner
back.
et qu'ils reviennent,
they are difficult people to break through
c'est vraiment difficile de les atteindre.
because their digestive system is working.
Parce que leur système digestif est
It
en
is
train de travailler.
affecting the flow of blood into their
Ça
brain.
affecte le
And when
coulement
the blood
sanguin.
is not going into the brain, it is affecting their eyesight.
Et
So
quand
their
le sang-
eyes begin to become heavy.
Et quand le sang ne va pas dans le cerveau, alors
But
les
by
yeux
reasoning
s'alourdissent.
of logical and analytical thinking, we must find a solution to this problem.
Mais si nous sommes logiques
And
avec
so,
nous-mêmes, nous devons trouver une solution
I
à ce
hereby
problème.
propose this solution.
Alors je propose une solution.
Whilst you are sitting,
Pendant que tu es assis,
how many of us went to primary nursery school,
combien d'entre nous
kindergarten?
sont allés au jardin
How many
scolaire?
of us went to kindergarten?
Combien d'entre nous sont allés au jardin scolaire?
So majority didn't go to kindergarten.
La plupart
Okay,
d'entre nous.
how many of us know this song? If you're happy and you know, clap your hands. Okay, good. So in order to pump the blood so that you can be alive for me to communicate,
Pour pomper le sang afin que nous soyons
Can we
en
rise
vie
on our
éveillés,
feet?
nous allons nous lever.
so I'm the choir master.
Alors moi je suis le maître de la
So
chorale.
do, re, mi, fa, so. Okay, ready. If you're happy and you know, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know, and you really want to show, if you're happy and you know, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know, stamp your feet. If you're happy and you know, stamp your feet. If you're happy and you know, and you really want to show, if you're happy and you know, stamp your feet. Put your hands together and sit down. Now the blood should be flowing. So that you don't sleep on me. Okay, so the next element
L'élément suivant
that will help you to formulate a good strategy
qui va t'aider dans ta stratégie,
is that you must have values.
c'est que tu dois avoir des valeurs.
Values.
Des valeurs.
The things that you believe in.
Les choses en lesquelles tu crois.
Pentecost will say holiness unto God is one of our values. We don't
L'église
compromise
Pentecôte
it.
va dire la sainteté de Dieu est l'une de nos valeurs.
Presbyterian Church says humility and discipline is core value. We don't compromise on it.
Les presbytériens vont te dire l'humilité.
So
c'est
when you
nos
have your
valeurs.
mission and your vision, you must have value. What do your organization, your church believe in? That this one, dear, we hold it dear. It's a core value.
Alors,
we don't compromise it.
Après la mission et la vision, on doit définir maintenant les valeurs, ce à quoi on va s'attacher et avec quoi on ne doit même pas jouer.
So one of the core values I know
L'une de mes
after being
valeurs,
associated with Apostolic Summit is that time. We don't joke with our time. It's a core value.
l'une des valeurs de ce ministère, c'est le temps.
So this kind of value will help us in our strategy to achieve our goal. It means that when we say we are starting 8:30, we are starting 8:30. And that if we want to have 5 sessions before the end of the day, we don't joke with our time so that we'll end up having the 5 sessions and closing at the time that we want to close. That is how value shapes your strategy so that you'll be able to achieve your goal.
Alors ici, on ne joue pas avec la ponctualité. C'est de sorte à ce que, quel que soit ce qu'on fait, on respecte toujours le temps parce que c'est l'une des valeurs de ce ministère.
The things you are learning here, it doesn't matter whether you are in a village church, because I've built capacity for village church pastors. Wherever you are, if you put these things in place, your ministry will take a different shape. Are you hearing me?
Tout ce que
So
tu apprends
get some
ici,
values.
quel que soit l'endroit où tu te trouves, il faut les mettre en valeur pour que ça puisse t'aider.
It will help your strategy.
Ça va t'aider dans ta stratégie.
The next element when it
L'élément
comes to your
suivant,
strategy system,
concernant le système stratégique,
you must have objectives.
c'est des objectifs.
Objectives are the steps that you have to take to reach your goal.
C'est ce par quoi tu dois passer pour pouvoir atteindre ton objectif final.
So if you are a footballer
Alors,
and
si
you
tu es un
have
footballeur,
your strategy is so 4-4-2, okay, whatever it is.
Et que
And then you want to score a goal. Okay. Part of your objective is that when you get the ball, either you take it to the wings or you take it to the center. Make sure that after 2 dribbles, you pass the ball to the next person. These are the objectives to help you to achieve the strategy so that you can score the goal.
alors si tu es un footballeur, que vous soyez 4-4-2, tu dois t'assurer à ce que, si votre objectif c'est de marquer des buts, tu dois t'assurer à ce que, après que tel ait fait une passe, l'objectif final, c'est soit de marquer le but.
Our goal is to win 100 souls this year. That is a goal.
Si notre objectif c'est de gagner 100 âmes cette année, c'est un objectif.
Our strategy is that we are going to, as part of our strategy for the year, is that this year we want to win 100 souls and add to the church.
Notre stratégie sera de dire, OK, nous voulons gagner 100 personnes cette année.
The objectives are the steps that we are going to take to make sure that these 100 souls are won.
Tes objectifs maintenant seront de mettre en place les mesures qui vont t'aider à
We can
atteindre
say
ta
that we'll
stratégie.
organize a youth extravaganza in the month of June.
Tu peux dire que nous allons organiser un programme pour les jeunes.
We'll do
le mois de
outreaches
juin.
every Sunday after church.
Nous
Go
allons,
to homes.
nous allons faire du porte-à-porte chaque dimanche après le
These
culte.
are all objectives, things we do, step-by-step things, so that at the end of the day, the goal will be achieved.
Ça, ce sont tous les objectifs que tu te fixes au jour le jour pour pouvoir atteindre ton objectif principal.
The next is that you must have a strategic plan.
Ensuite, tu dois avoir un plan stratégique.
A plan as to how to go about things in the organization.
Le plan va te dicter ce qu'il faut faire dans
The
l'organisation.
next element is that there must be policies and procedures.
Et la prochaine, c'est qu'il doit avoir une politique et des procédures à suivre.
So for a church organization, one of the policy you can have in the church is that if a member dies, the church don't buy coffin. It's a policy.
La politique d'une église, ça peut être par exemple que si un
Make
membre
it
de
clear
l'église
so
meurt,
that
nous ne
the
devons
family will
pas
not come and
acheter
be asking you,
de cercueil.
sorry, we better coffin amanana. You make it a policy, everybody knows.
Et cette politique-là, tout le monde doit la savoir, que personne n'a droit à un cercueil.
Or you can make a policy that when your bereaved person dies, the church will give you a certain amount to support you.
Ou alors la politique de l'église, ça peut être que si tu as perdu un proche, l'église doit te soutenir avec de l'argent.
That is a policy.
Ça, c'est la politique de l'église.
Procedure
Maintenant, les procédures.
is how do I go about making this policy a reality?
C'est comment est-ce qu'on s'arrange de sorte que cette politique-là puisse
So
vivre.
for that example,
Pour
that
cet
if
exemple-là,
a loved one dies, the church will give you, let's say, 1,000 Ghana cedis as a support.
Pour les
It's a
hommes
church policy. The procedure now will be that first you have to fill a form. It must be signed by your departmental head so that we know that you're a member of the church. In that form, we want to find out your tithe card number. All those things are procedures to assess a policy that is in place. Are we together on that?
Alors si la politique est que l'église doit te soutenir lorsque tu paies quelqu'un, quand tu as perdu cette personne, on peut te donner des papiers à remplir, des formulaires à remplir et toutes ces choses-là, ce sont les procédures qui ont été mises en place afin que tu jouisses
This can
de
only
la
happen
politique
in
de
Apostolic
l'église.
Summit. The things I'm teaching you here, these are top corporate things that people will pay big money.
Les
to be
choses
able
qu'on
to
vous
access
enseigne
that
ici,
information.
c'est des choses pour lesquelles les gens
So
payent de
don't
fortes
go
sommes.
and go and throw it away.
Alors
The
n'allez pas
idea is
juste
that we
jeter
want
ça
that your
quelque
church
part.
will be better, and that will be our joy, myself and Apostle.
Notre volonté, c'est que ton église puisse croître et que ce soit une fierté pour nous.
So if you don't have policies and procedures, you will not remain relevant. There must
Alors,
be policies, there must be procedures.
S'il n'y a pas une politique et des procédures mises en place, vous ne pourrez pas perdurer.
Every department must have a policy,
Tout département doit avoir une politique
and then there must be procedures.
et il doit avoir des procédures.
So one of your policy could be that before you become a member of this church, first you must go through the new convert class, and then you must be baptized, and you go through those procedures before now we can give you a membership card. So it's a policy, but there is a procedure that you have to go through to make the policy relevant. I'm just dropping this tip so that you get what it is when you are running a church very well. To let it remain relevant in the future, structures must be in place.
Alors la politique de l'église peut être que tant que tu n'es pas baptisé, tant que tu n'es pas né de nouveau, tu ne peux pas être un membre à part entière de l'église. Dans ce cas-là, pour te baptiser, les formulaires à remplir, les conditions à remplir, tout ça, ce sont les procédures.
You must decide on the technology that you are going to use to achieve your goal. That is also one of the elements of your strategy.
L'élément suivant, c'est que tu dois décider des moyens technologiques qui vont t'aider à atteindre ton objectif principal.
So in your strategy system, the elements that must come together, like I explained to you with the sound system, all these things must be in place. They must be aligned together so that you'll be able to achieve your strategy.
Comme dans le système sonore, tous ces éléments qu'on vient de mentionner là doivent travailler ensemble de sorte à atteindre ton objectif.
The next structure that an organization must have,
qu'une organisation doit avoir,
or the next system that an organization must have,
ou un autre système de l'organisation,
there must be a structure.
C'est qu'il doit avoir une structure.
We explained that a structure is the way things are built. You put a frame so that based on that frame you build upon. So if you want to build a story building, or if you want to build even a furniture, you first put the structure together before you add all the other things so that the thing takes shape. So you must have a structure.
La structure, c'est la mise en place de l'organisation. Qu'est-ce qui est quoi, qu'est-ce qui fait quoi, c'est ce qui représente la structure.
So, like I said, a structure, just like strategy, is a system. It must have elements that must work together so that that system can work perfectly.
La structure, de même que la stratégie, est composée d'éléments qui doivent travailler d'un commun accord.
So, what are the elements that make a structure in an organization?
Quels sont les éléments de la structure dans une organisation?
One,
Le numéro
you
1,
must have an organizational structure,
tu dois avoir une structure organisationnelle.
a clear definition of who is the head of the organization, who are the other management staff, who is under who. That is an organizational structure. So when we come, we know who is responsible for what, who is performing what function in the organization. That is an organizational structure.
L'organisation doit être structurée. Qui est la tête? Après lui, qui suit? Qui fait quoi? Qui contrôle tel département? Cette structure-là doit être mise en place.
So presiding bishop, assistant presiding bishop, missions and outreach director, you must have that organizational structure that when I look at it, I know that this is how this organization functions. And the reason why this is there is to help them to be able to achieve a particular goal.
Alors on peut avoir le bishop, l'assistant du bishop, le responsable de tel département, le responsable de tel département. C'est toutes ces structures-là qui nous aident à comprendre comment l'organisation fonctionne.
Get last year's DVD. I explained different kinds of structures that you can have as an organization: a functional structure, a decentralized structure, a matrix structure, and I gave diagrams on that. We looked at it on the screen to explain, and then I said that for every small church, your structure must be a functional structure.
Assurez-vous de prendre les CD et vidéos de l'année passée parce que j'ai expliqué toutes ces choses-là en long et en large.
Then another element for the structure is that there must be a job structure.
Un autre élément, c'est qu'il doit y avoir une structure du travail. Le travail doit être structuré.
What kind of work will be available in this organization? A job structure. So
Quel
when we're
genre-
employing people, we know that we're employing them to come and do a specific job.
Quel genre de travaux seront nécessités? Quel genre de postes on aura besoin dans cette organisation-là? De sorte à ce que lorsqu'on emploie, on sait qui est-ce qu'on doit employer.
So all the jobs or the work in the church, it is because they are needed jobs in the church. That is why they are there. So your job structure will tell the kind of jobs that must be in place in that organization.
Alors, les postes, les différents postes à occuper dans l'église, ça va t'aider à savoir qui est-ce que tu dois engager pour occuper ces postes-là.
Do you need a public relations officer for the church? Do
Est-ce
you
que-
need an estate manager for the church?
Est-ce
These
que tu as
are
besoin de
things you
quelqu'un qui
ask
va
yourself.
s'occuper des relations publiques de l'église?
As the organization grows and you have properties and this thing, you realize that somebody must be able to be in charge to manage and maintain our properties. So then you say, oh, we need an estate manager. Let's create a job for an estate manager. So every job in an organization is to help you to achieve a goal.
Pendant que l'église grandit et que l'église a des propriétés, on peut dire, bon, voilà, on a besoin maintenant de quelqu'un pour manager ces propriétés-là.
That's why we lambast politicians. When they create certain positions, we ask ourselves, what is the person coming to do?
C'est pourquoi parfois on blâme les politiciens. On dit, quand il y a des
Minister of
postes qui
State
sont
attached to
créés,
the presidency.
des ministères qui sont ouverts, on se dit, mais à quoi ça sert?
What is that? Minister of State attached to the presidency.
Ministère d'État
Doing
qui
what?
est attaché au président, rattaché au président, il fait quoi? Ministre d'État.
Ambassador extraordinaire, doing what?
Ambassadeur extraordinaire, il fait quoi?
Yes, compensate.
Il compense.
So these are things you need. Don't create jobs, whether you are paying them or not. Don't create confusion in your organization.
Ne crée pas des postes qui vont apporter la confusion dans ton organisation. Même
Maybe
si
you
c'est
came
gratuit.
to Apostles Church, it is big church. So they've decided that we should have meeters and greeters. And then we should have also ushers. And then they have protocol who take care of cars to make sure that security is taking place. Your people are only 15.
Alors, tu imagines, tu as une grande église comme celle du prophète. Il a décidé d'avoir un service d'accueil. Il a décidé d'avoir un
So by the time
protocole.
you take ushers, take meters and greeters, and take protocol security, who is in church?
Et toi, tu as une petite église. Tu te dis, tu vas faire la même chose. Mais une fois que tu finis de mettre ce monde-là par là, il n'y a plus personne qui reste dans
The
l'église.
point I'm making is that
Ce que je veux dire, c'est
a
que
solid organization,
une organisation solide,
every work or job you create in the church, there must be a reason why it's there. It must help to achieve your goal.
dans une
If it's
organisation
not,
solide,
you don't need it in your
il
church.
doit avoir une raison pour tous les postes qui sont créés.
I wanted to go somewhere, but
Je voulais
today I
aller
want to
quelque
be
part,
I want
mais
to be a good boy.
je
Charismatic from where I'm to you.
ne
Yeah.
vais pas y aller.
Then we create unnecessary jobs that are of no relevance.
Nous créons des postes qui ne sont même pas
And
nécessaires,
some
qui
of
n'ont
them,
aucune nécessité.
when we have time and we come to talk about the job structure in detail, some of them, they overlap each other, so there are confusion.
Certains d'entre eux, ils ont des difficultés entre eux-mêmes parce que leurs travaux se touchent quelque part. Donc, il y a toujours confusion.
And then you have different music directors. Then at the end of the day, so who is the head of all the music department? And then they are fighting each other.
Dans le
Because
département
people
musical,
want posts.
on peut avoir plusieurs responsables. Finalement, qui est le responsable? Ils vont toujours s'entre-déchirer.
So your job structure. Then not only job structure, there must be job methods. If we have the job, how are we going to go about the job? Explain the job and the methods of doing the job clearly.
En plus de la structure du travail, il doit avoir aussi les méthodes de travail doivent être définies.
The next system you must have in place is what I call the group relations.
Le système suivant, c'est les relations de groupe.
A group of people coming together to achieve a common goal is an organization.
On a défini
So
l'organisation.
one of the systems that must be in place is group relations.
Alors, un système de l'organisation, c'est la relation
And
intergroupe.
here the elements are intra-group relations, and I'll explain. Intra, I-N-T-R-A.
Et dans cette vague-là, nous avons les relations inter.
And then inter, I-N-T-E-R.
Et des relations dans le groupe et les relations intergroupes.
So intra-group relation and intergroup relations.
Les relations dans le groupe et les relations en dehors du groupe, entre différents groupes.
Intra means that if we come to the music department, okay,
Quand on parle de relations dans le groupe, imaginons le département
how
musical.
do we build a relationship that those in the music department will relate to each other so that they will be together to achieve the goal and they won't fight each other to frustrate the goal?
Comment est-ce qu'on crée une atmosphère pour que tout le groupe travaille ensemble pour atteindre le même objectif?
That is intra.
Ça, c'est dans
When I
le
come
groupe.
to inter,
Quand il s'agit de inter,
we have the choir and we have the instrumentalists.
nous avons le groupe musical
There
et nous avons les
are two
instrumentalistes.
different groups.
C'est deux groupes différents.
They must relate to each other well so that we'll be able to achieve the goal.
Mais ils doivent travailler d'un commun accord
If
pour
there is
atteindre
an
l'objectif.
intra-fight, what will happen is that organist and drummer have issue. So at that point, they will frustrate the work of the instrumentalists.
Si il peut avoir des
Vite,
problèmes,
vite, vite. Yeah.
il peut avoir des problèmes et ces problèmes-là vont agir sur la cohésion du groupe.
And then if the instrumentalists are together,
Et si les
but they
instrumentalistes sont
don't
ensemble
relate well with the choir,
et qu'ils ne s'entendent pas avec le groupe musical,
when we come to church,
quand on vient à l'église,
The kind of music that will make church service exciting will not be there because music, the instrumental department has problem with the choir. So the two groups are not flowing. So you can have intra-group challenge and you can have inter-group challenge. How do you ensure that your organization, the group relationships are very strong?
Le genre de musique qu'ils vont jouer ne sera pas attirante parce qu'il y a un problème au niveau des deux groupes. Alors, il doit y avoir une cohésion entre les différents groupes dans l'église.
Then the next system
Et le système
is the
suivant,
culture of the organization.
c'est la culture d'une organisation.
And here the elements are your values and your norms.
Et ici, les éléments sont les valeurs et les normes.
Then you should have a reward system.
Et ensuite, on doit avoir un système de récompense.
Here there must be a salary and a pay structure.
Il doit avoir des salaires et une structure de paie.
There must be financial and non-financial incentives.
Il doit avoir des ressources financières et non financières.
There must be a method of assessing performance of people who work in the organization so that they are rewarded accordingly.
Il doit avoir une méthode pour évaluer toutes les personnes qui travaillent dans l'organisation.
And then the next system and the final one should be the leadership system.
Et le dernier système, c'est le système de leadership.
In the leadership system, we are asking ourselves, what are the levels of management or leadership in the organization?
On se demande quel est le niveau de
And what are the
gérance, de gestion
competencies
dans
of
votre
those
organisation.
organizations? The competencies of those who are leaders in the organization.
Et
What
quelles
is
sont
their
les
competencies?
compétences de ceux qui sont leaders dans l'organisation?
My time is up.
Mon temps est épuisé.
You force small, but I'll give you 70% for this session.
Je vais vous noter 70 pour cette section. 600.
Interestingly, when you are hungry, you are dull. When you are full, you are dull.
Ce qui est intéressant, c'est que quand vous avez faim, vous avez sommeil. Quand aussi vous
So I
mangez,
don't know.
vous mangez.
I was
vous
going
avez
to
sommeil.
tell Apostle that to solve this problem, what should we do? But I realized that when they are hungry, they will be dull. When they are full too, they will be dull. So what do we do now?
Alors dans ce cas-là, qu'est-ce qu'on fait?
Well, come on, put your hands together. Let's welcome God's servant, Apostle.
Oh, come on, be on your feet.
On se tient debout.
Come on,
se
be
tient
on your
debout.
feet. Wow. Wow. Wow.